This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And we're also brought to you by Bird Dog Shorts. The world's greatest shorts are hooking you up with a free Yeti-style tumbler when you order over at birddogs.com/pool. That's birddogs.com/pool. All right, DJs, welcome back. It's the U.S. Open DFS show. It's your boy, Boston Capper, with the god of golf himself, Steve Schirmer, and very special guest, Mr. Nagel's Bagels. Jeffrey, how are we doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much, Boston Capper. Always nice to hear you introduce somebody as a very special guest, since you do it every single freaking week. But don't think I haven't heard that, by the way. Don't think I haven't heard that.
I mean, listen, make sure I do it. I make sure I do it to you on purpose.
I mean, I think you were our very first guest on this show anyways. So, I mean, you are actually a very special guest. It's a very special honor that you have.
Well, when you call everybody a very special guest, it loses its luster. So, I'm watching.
You're like the Don Rickles of the Golf Gambling Podcast, man. That's it. You're on constantly. And no one who listens to this podcast gets that reference. Johnny Carson was a very famous late night show host, guys. So
I know Johnny Carson.
I know you.
I know because we're old.
Yeah.
Of course, we know Johnny Carson is. There you go. So it is U.S. Open week. So before we get kind of into this golf course, though, do you want to talk about a little bit what happened with final qualifying? With you went out to New Jersey and you were sweating your boy Andy Pope, and I was following all day, and you got a good start, and it looked like he was hanging around. So you want to get into a little bit of what happened there?
He made a birdie on 11, and I really thought I was going LACC. I thought he had it, man. I started getting texts. My brother was sending me screenshots of the leaderboard. He was tied for the lead. He was letting me know what Thor Bjornsson was doing or whatever, but he just needed to get into the top four. The day itself was a lot of fun. I was out there, first tee, 7 a.m., first one's off. Yeah. It was really cool. It's really cool to have a friend of yours be that good at golf. And no, it's just watch them play and navigate the round, and just the ability, the bounce back ability that you just don't see for regular people. If you make a sloppy bogey, then he comes back with 3 straight birdies. It's like, well, that's usually we throw our clubs into the pond. But it was the wheels kind of fell off at the end. It was a sloppy 3-putt on 15. I made a great par save on 16, and 17 was this like crazy impossible uphill par 3 that he didn't get on the green and made bogey there. So he had 2 bogeys in the last 4 holes. And we knew he needed a birdie on 18 from the fairway. He's like $180 out. He knocks it to 4 feet, and then he missed the putt. It was it was devastating. It was devastating, because if he makes that, he's probably going to be in a playoff. Which was
anything can happen.
Would have been nice to salvage a playoff.
Yeah,
but no, that was. I really felt. I felt for him. He felt bad for us, and I felt bad for him. My brother's texted me, knowing how selfish I am. He's like, "Listen, I know you're pissed, but like it's worse for him." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's worse for him." But it was such a fun ride, and we hung out that night, and it was great. But it was the experience itself. I had one foot. I was halfway onto Expedia booking my flight to go out there to LA. He was there. My dad's texting me, "Hey, is this on the Golf Channel? What time's it come on?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Like, I'm on the 14th hole, Dad. I don't know Golf Channel's program." He's like, "They're showing the memorial from yesterday." Yeah, sweet guy. But that was tough. But he's really good, and I don't know what his plan is now, if he's going to go. I know he's got the Florida Open next month. He won that last year. Maybe he can win it again. And I don't know if he's going to go to Q school in the fall. But it was a tough day. But it was really cool. Yeah. It was just almost made it. I'm sorry. I keep
That's fine. Well, how's the vibe there? Like, do you get pretty good access as far as like how close can you get to the guys? Are there ropes up, or can you kind of just walk?
Oh no, I was walking on the fairway. I was.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool. You were. I was the only with that group for most of the morning. I was the only one there. There was another guy, maybe a member. towards the end, he started to get a little bit of a crowd because he was towards the top of the leaderboard. But there was never any cameras or anything.
Yeah.
But it was no, it's wide open. I saw Cameron Tringali with his stupid string and his rolled up socks on the putting green, and Jim Herman was there, and who else did we see?
Yeah, there were a couple. I think it was Kelly Craft there. I think
Kelly Craft. I ran into Kelly Craft in the men's room. That was fun. Barry Henson, talked to Barry Henson, and he ended up qualifying. And I was there with Christopher Powers. You guys know CP. So we were there. He talked to Thorne Bjornsson after the round. And yeah, it was cool to see these guys, but it was, it's a good vibe, and sitting there and having lunch, and you see all these people coming through, and this guy, you can just tell like who's an athlete and who's not. And these college kids, it's a scene. It is quite the scene, but
that's cool.
It was a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's on my bucket list to go to one of those qualifiers. Like maybe go like over to Ohio or something, because I mean, it's kind of like a rich man's Corn Ferry Tour event. Those ones in Columbus or Toronto. So, and especially if you can get access like that and kind of walk the fairways, as long as you're not kind of a dick about anything. I mean, that's pretty cool to kind of walk side by side with everybody. So that's pretty good. All right, so why don't we transition to LACC? So you told me before the show that you might have a couple questions for me about the golf course. And Capper, if you have any other questions for me, I'm sure you maybe thought of a couple too. So fire away, Jeff.
All right,
what's on your mind?
My first question is based on what I'm hearing. As far as the agronomy goes, it's a California. They're in California, but I hear on a lot of Bermuda grass, fairways and rough. And that makes me think of Florida. So I am like because I have like this thing with California golfers and Florida golfers and guys I won't play in Florida and guys I won't play in California and that whole thing. So I just want to know, like, what do you think of that theory? How are you playing that? What golf courses should I be thinking of as far as Bermuda fairways and rough, but not the bent grass greens?
Well, I mean, you just had one last year in Southern Hills.
Okay.
Rolling topography, Bermuda, grass, bent grass greens. There you go. I mean, so the type of Bermuda they had there is a Bandera Bermuda. It's kind of basically just your run-of-the-mill Bermuda. It can be very clumpy. It's pretty long. It's about 3 to 4 inches. There are runoff areas around the green. There's thick rough. But around the bunkers, though, it's actually a different grass. It's tall fescue to make it look a little more natural. That's definitely kind of gnarly. So these guys are going to be dealing like a lot of different types of agronomy this week as far as the tall fescue, if they're in there, the Bermuda. If they're down in the Barranca, it's just a bunch of maybe like weeds and plants and just like sandy soil. So, I mean, these guys, if they miss a green, they definitely have their work cut out for them. And off the fairways, there have been some spots where the USGA has grown in the rough a little bit, but for the most part, though, pretty wide corridors to operate. Some of the fairways are contoured in a way where if you hit the wrong side of it, it's going to go towards the other side and the wrong side. And we'll see if angles kind of matter as far as if you're on the wrong side of the fairway, that makes your approach shot a little more difficult. We've heard that story before. It hasn't really worked. But as far as agronomy goes, I think, I just looked at general, especially with around the green performance. I looked at Bermuda history, and I think that's a good reference point to go to this week.
Okay. My next question.
Okay.
Can you hit it anywhere here?
No.
If you're a bomber, I mean, can you hit it anywhere?
So you can't miss big for the most part. Right. That's kind of what I just talked about with this whole angles thing. So Jeff Shackelford was a big contributor to redoing this golf course, and he's big on angles. So they did try and recreate some of the greens where if you are on the wrong side of the fairway, you got to carry over a bunker or there's a pin position you can't get to. Now, the problem, though, with some of that is the USGA is going to run these greens pretty fast, and these greens aren't designed to run at a 13 centimeter and have a lot of these pin locations. So there could be situations where the USGA kind of loses pins as far as like, all right, they lose ideas and it doesn't matter what side of the fairway you're on. But, for example, though, the fifth fairway is like a 60-yard wide fairway. But if you hit it down the middle or to the right, it's going to roll all the way down towards the right into the rough. And at that point, you have trees you got to navigate with. You got to carry it over 2 deep bunkers. You just don't really have a lot of room to work with. But if you're on the left side of the fairway, up on the hill there, it's a flat lie. There's a bailout zone to the left there in case you do hit kind of a poor shot. So there are situations like that where you do have to be a little strategic off the tee to make sure you're in the correct spot. But for the most part, though, as long as you're in the short grass, and these guys are so good too, as long as you don't miss huge and you don't miss in the exact wrong spots, you should be okay.
Okay. That's very interesting. My other questions are for specific players. So as we go through the board, I might drop it.
All right, perfect. Why don't we take a quick break, and then we'll start breaking down the board. Yeah.
That's it, man. Well, listen, this episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down to some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. Double down on your favorite bet that you like, and even use to create an awesome middle or even hedge, which we do not support on this podcast. No hedging. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark, as they charge 0 interest. Do you know any way you can access more money to place on your favorite bets without paying any interest? Edge Boost can also be a part of your responsible gambling plan, as you can set up daily, weekly, and monthly limits across all your betting accounts in one place. So support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamingpodcast.com/edge. That's sportsgamingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 or older. A problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay. All right. Let's start breaking down the tiers, and let's do it a little differently. Well, not quite all that different, but let's start with the $10,000 range, and let's throw Rory in that too. He's at $9,900, so we might as well include him in this discussion. Okay. So right now we got Scotty Scheffler at 11.4, John Rahm at 11.1, Brooks Koepka at 10.8, Patrick Cantlay 10.3, Victor Hovland a flat 10,000, and Rory McIlroy $9,900. Seems like ownership right now is definitely heavy on Scheffler for obvious reasons. He has been great tee to green. A lot of support on Hovland. People want to ride that wave. Maybe they missed out at Memorial. Maybe they got a little bit of FOMO, so they're trying to capture a little bit more magic. See if Hovland can kind of keep it going. Jeff, why don't I kick it off to you? I guess, do you have any concerns between either Scheffler or Hovland as far as maybe the ownership might not be warranted, or do you think they're good chalk?
Well, one of the guys I wanted to ask you about was Victor Hovland. I can't figure out these short game woes with this rough around the greens, like at a Bay Hill or a Memorial. But then also he performed quite well at St. Andrews. And I don't know what's going on around the greens at this particular golf course. I've seen him chip at Augusta, and it was ugly. And I don't want to be the guy that doesn't have faith in Victor Hovland, but I'm kind of the guy that doesn't have any faith in Victor Hovland. I played him at Colonial after the PGA, and everybody told me that was dumb. And of course, I don't know what he finished like 16th, and then of course he wins the following week. I don't know what's going on around the green here. It seems like it's a mixed bag. There's runoff areas and there's rough. Yeah. I just think that's going to get to him eventually. But from a DraftKings perspective, he'll be fine. He's a good enough player. He could top 10. I just don't know if he's going to win. And I think that's what you want when you're picking from this range. So I would probably fade the ownership in this spot. What do you think of that?
Capper, where you go?
I agree with you. So I'm the same way. Like, I definitely have FOMO for missing out because I had to go ahead and have a stupid heart attack. I didn't get any Hovland. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. Like, my eyes tell me that it's the chipping's still not there. Like, if you look at what he did on, I think it was Sunday at Augusta, it was real bad. And even some of the shit he was doing Thursday through Saturday, it was like luck box type stuff. But Steve, tell me if I'm thinking about this right. Like, so he has problems with the tight lies, right? I feel like he can is it kind of all over? Because in my brain, it's tight lies.
So here's the thing. If there's a situation where it's a tight lie, kind of like at St. Andrews or even at TPC Sawgrass where you can putt, then it's usually okay.
Right.
But for the most part, though, I mean, it seems like he's had a lot of problems with a lot of stuff, bunkers, tight lies. Now it has gone a little better. It seems like he's gotten a little better from out of deep rough. But you're right. I mean, I think that is definitely a concern where there are going to be a lot of different styles of chipping you have to do this week. Now, even at the end of the day, he still gained slightly at Augusta National. So this year. So part of that might have been just course conditions, but it wasn't a total disaster. So if he can just do that and just with what his ball striking has been and how good of a long iron player he is and how good of a bentgrass putter he is, then sure, that can be fine. But I mean, if he starts slipping a little bit with the ball striking, that can be a problem. Now, I think the one thing that might be in his favor this week is the weather is supposed to be really good, not a whole lot of wind. So far this week, it seems like the storyline about the golf course is how it's a little softer than they might have liked. Now it might firm up as the week goes on, but I think that might play into Victor Hovland's favor. We kind of saw at Augusta National where he was really good in kind of calmer conditions. And then once the weather kind of turned, he suffered then because he wasn't hitting as many greens. That could be the case this week. Maybe he just has a great driving week. He's got the combination of length and accuracy. Maybe he just hits a lot of greens this week and just gets hot with a putter. And maybe that short game kind of isn't really a huge issue for him. So, but I mean, at this ownership though, I mean, you can make a great case for Rahm at looks like maybe half the ownership. I mean, it's higher price. You can probably even make a good case for Rory at half the ownership too. So it just kind of depends on if you want to eat the chalk with Hovland and maybe differentiate down low or go with another option. I mean, I think there's only really one guy in this range I have giant concerns with. So, Capper, why don't you go though? I guess talk about this range a little bit. Talk about anybody else you might have concerns up here.
I mean, I'm always going to have concerns with Cantlay with fucking majors because every stat model is going to say he's awesome, and my eyeballs and memories tell me he is not awesome at places like this. So that's it. I'm just going to pass. I'm going to stick to my guns with that one. I also don't think there's any fucking way that Rory stays as low owned as he is at 9,900 coming off 3 top 10s. Rory has his fanboys and he's another guy who pops on the model. There's no way he stays this low without a 10 in front of his name. Like I get like people are going to want to play Victor, but as the week goes on, they're not going to let Rory be under owned. Okay. You know what I mean? He even if it does, even it lasts till Wednesday night, people are going to be making lineups. Wait, hold on. Rory's only going to be 12%, and I'm getting 20 at Hovland, and then it's going to flop. It's going to flip flop, right? Like or Xander, or like one or the other. Like ownership will shift from Vic or Xander or Homer or maybe even Cantlay and go to Rory because he's going to look like he's going to be underowned. But I think Scotty's the play here. Like whatever, 11-4 is definitely affordable. There's what the fuck you say other than he can't putt, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he can't putt. 4 top 5s in a row. Like if he's ridiculous what he's doing tee to green. It's fucking insane, and I'll take it. Like I'll roll with the tee to green and see what he does on some. I mean, he likes putting at Augusta, so we'll see.
There you go, Jeff. Is that the play for you? Is it Scotty Scheffler for you?
I haven't decided. Can we talk about like Brooks Koepka and John Rahm for a second?
Of course.
I feel like they deserve some attention. So, like I talked about before with California versus Florida, like Rahm is like for some reason notoriously hasn't been great in Florida, with the exception of maybe popping his head up at the Players one year. Is that do you think that might be an agronomy thing? Does that correlate here at all? Is there a case to be made?
I don't think so because the DP World Championship at Jumeirah Estates. That's all Bermuda. It's got all that puffy Bermuda there too. So I don't think it's an agronomy thing for him. And he's won Kapalua, and that's Bermuda too. Okay. So I don't think it's a Bermuda thing. It might just be. I mean, he doesn't really play a whole lot of Florida courses. He plays, the Players, which he blew one year. He actually was playing well through one round this year, and then withdrew because he had the shits.
Yes.
I think he has like a top 10 at Innisbrook too.
Yeah, he was first round. He was first round leader at, was it API?
Yeah, actually he was, and then he kind of collapsed after that.
Yep.
So yeah, it might have been a little bit of bad luck with him. And then as far as Koepka, because I know where you're going with this, is the California thing with Koepka, because he's on record saying he doesn't really like California courses.
Yep.
Is that where you're going with that?
I wasn't going with that. It's just that we hadn't talked about it, and
Okay.
he seems to be like the guy that you guys were talking about ownership before. I just thought that Brooks would be the more popular. It doesn't seem. I'm not getting the impression from you guys that he is, and I wanted to know what you thought about that. Are you in on Brooks this week? Are you guys not on Brooks? Or
I mean, my thing is I can't. Yeah, so my thing is I can't play them all, right? So if I'm going to start a majority of my lineups with Scotty, going Scotty Brooks makes life very, very difficult.
Okay.
To like my builds. So probably not. Like I'll probably skip him in Cantlay, and I'll probably just have a mixture of the two big dogs, and I'll skip Cantlay because I don't think he can do it. And look, it's not that I don't think Brooks can win. He absolutely can win. He's a you know what I mean? Like he just won the PGA. He's obviously in good form. This should be a good course for him, in theory. I don't think so. Steve, you talked about it, but I think it's because he doesn't like POA, right? Isn't that why he didn't like California? Because he
doesn't like Kikuyu. He doesn't like Kikuyu. That's it. Because so he didn't really like Torrey Pines, and he didn't really like Riviera. Although at the U.S. Open Torrey Pines, he almost won.
He finished fourth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I think that just goes to show how good he is in U.S. Opens. I mean, like you throw him in kind of any different style course. I mean, he contended at Pebble Beach. He contended he won Erin Hills. He won Shinnecock. So, and that actually is, those are two golf courses I used this week to kind of compare to what we might see as far as a lot of elevation changes, uneven lies, rolling topography. And that's kind of on the extremes too, where Erin Hills is really slow, soft, receptive, where if the golf course is kind of playing a little slower, it might be turning to that. Or if it just gets crazy baked out and firm and fast, that's Shinnecock. And that also had kind of wide fairways and rolling topography and really tough up and downs, kind of like what you're going to see this week. Different agronomy, but he's a Florida guy. He's won on a Bermuda golf course before. Does really well down in Florida when he's down there as well. So you know what, I'm fine with Brooks. It's Brooks Koepka at the U.S. Open. And he's got low ownership, so I don't see any reason why he won't do well this week.
I don't think he's going to stay low on. Same thing with Rory. Like it's only, what is it, Monday night, 9:00? Like
yeah,
I don't think so. Especially because people who are going to have FOMO who didn't get him at 40 to 1 or 50 to 1 or whatever, and now they're going to have to eat a fucking 12 to 1, bet him outright. No, they're going to.
Well, that's what I thought was happening that's what I thought was happening at the PGA. And that's why I was like, God, everyone's betting Brooks now because he's back and everything. And so, like, he's not going to win. But now it's like, I don't know. Now the number's too low. But I don't even know how much golf this guy's been playing since he won. He's got the Panthers in the playoffs, and I don't know what he's doing. And I've been wrong about Brooks for like 4 years. And my brother wants to bet him. I know nobody cares about that. But like if like more people are getting in on him now, because it's just not that easy. I'm having a hard time. I don't know what to do with him. I have one more question. I'm sorry.
Can I say one last thing about Brooks before you get to your next question? Yeah. So about that outright, because I looked into it too. All his majors, he played the week before. So he's had 2 weeks off at this point. Mm-hmm. So take that for what you may. So maybe it's just a top 10 for him. Maybe it's a top 15 finish. But I think there is something to, and then why I liked him a lot at the PGA, and I wish I just had stones and bet him. Yeah, thanks, dude. Was because I remember, because people were saying, oh, well, what's this comparison to Tulsa to what he's going to go to Oak Hill? And I remember, well, he finished like top 5 at Trinity Forest, then went to Bethpage Black the next week. We're all saying, oh, he looks good. He looks ready. Yeah. So I do think, though, him having the week before, kind of like having that, cruise control 65 on Sundays, seeing like, all right, where all systems go. I like seeing that. The fact I didn't see that this time, I didn't bet him outright, but I think just how this golf course is set up, he'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So, all right.
You used to have a thing with Cantlay about Bermuda fairways, I believe, or
Bermuda everything, kind of.
Okay. Does that theory hold this week? Are you still on that, or has that been dispelled at any point?
So I looked into it. The problem is there's so few rounds where, like, it's actually all Bermuda rough, Bermuda fairways. He just doesn't play a lot of those. He plays a lot of combinations of like Zoysia and Bermuda, or like a lot of overseeded stuff where that can kind of go either way. Sometimes it might be a little bit of the ryegrass, sometimes it might be all Bermuda. I wanted to see how we did at the President's Cup as far as like around the green, and unfortunately they took all that shot link data off their website, which kind of sucked. It's not quite as bad as what I made out to seem last night, but even so, though, I just have a hang up on him on Bermuda. And I understand he used to have the course record here. That was 10 years ago. So I even went digging into what his home course was at UCLA. It's what's it called? I forget what it is, but it's the one that OJ was a member of.
Where he was looking for murderers all the time?
Brentwood Country Club. And it's Kikuyu, though. So that didn't even help me either. So I've been burned a lot by Cantlay. Now, the one thing about Cantlay, though, and I talked about it last night, is there is a very strong trend that regardless of what type of golf course you go to, narrow, wide, whatever, just the guys who come in highly ranked in strokes gained off the tee have been winning. Like even last year, Fitzpatrick was 10th coming in, Rahm was 3rd, Bryson was 1st, Woodland was 11th, DJ was 3rd, Spieth was even 12th. And Cantlay's sitting right in that top 12 there. And there's been a lot of guys and winners of the U.S. Open who have been inside the top 12 and strokes gained off tee coming in. So that's kind of scary. I'm just going to auto fade that. But I'm going to stick to my guns. It worked last year at Southern Hills. We have the same agronomy there. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going with it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Like it.
Any other comments with the $10,000 range or?
I think we covered.
All right, I think we covered that.
All right. Why don't we take another quick break and then we'll start covering the rest of the ranges.
So real quick before the break, if anybody wants to enjoy themselves, YouTube Norm Macdonald OJ. There's like a fucking 5-minute cut up clip of nothing but Norm Macdonald doing OJ jokes on Weekend Update. I found it when I was actually flying home from Rochester. It was very hilarious. For any young kids who don't know, Norm Macdonald, greatest Weekend Update host ever, and he eventually gets fired from SNL because he would not stop making O.J. Simpson jokes.
All right,
yes, rest in peace.
All right. Anyway, so bird dogs, man. These are the shorts that we're talking about. They make you look good. They're stretch khaki shorts. They're designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look, even if you ain't got it. And they do the same exact thing as Lululemon, but fit in a better way. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of stiff and restricted cotton. Bird Dog fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks like khaki but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice the movement. And they use anti-stink, sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Listen, as somebody who lives in Florida, who golfs in the summertime or is dragging kids around some unnamed theme park, there is nothing worse than chafing. So if these shorts can help you not chafe, I think I'm looking forward to getting my pair. So listen, you go to birddogs.com/pool and enter promo code pool for a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/pool for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise.
Okay. All right. $9,000 race. We already did Rory McIlroy.
Who doesn't buy anti-wicking shorts anymore? Like people still make these things? Like who wears those?
I don't know.
Who wears those?
No problems to worry about, Capper.
That's fair.
All right, $9,000 range excluding Rory McIlroy. You got Xander $9,600, Max Homa $9,400, Callum Morikawa $9,300, Jordan Spieth $9,200, Matthew Fitzpatrick $9,100, and Cam Smith $9,000. So of course we're going to start with Xander here. So Jeff, look, I said I was going to swear off Xander after the Oak Hill. I can't bet him outright anymore, but. Listen, it's late at night. I've had a couple drinks and I've been looking at the data and he's blowing up my phone. And you know what? Like, I'm wondering if I should just go back at this point. So either talk me out of it or talk me into it. So how's your temperature with Xander this week?
I think, well, it's weird. My temperature is kind of based on everybody else's temperature. I remember I was so livid Masters week because he was everybody's darling. And then people even went back to him at the PGA. And I'm just kind of hoping and praying somehow, some way that maybe, just maybe, it's not going to be a week where based on like where he's priced and where his odds are and just how everybody else is trending. Hovland's the guy, Scheffler's great, and John Rahm's in California, and just seems like a Jordan Spieth track, and then there's Brooksy's back, and maybe, just maybe, people are forgetting about a high-priced. His odds are too. You can't bet Xander at 18-1. That's impossible. He never wins. Maybe this is the week, finally, that it's my time. Like he gets the job done. I've been feeling it for a little while, but I've always needed the stars to align properly. And I know a lot of people don't believe in all that shit, and that's fine. But I do. And my proof is that Xander's been like a chalk bomb darling in majors for like 5 years, and he hasn't won one. So maybe he could come in under the radar a little bit, like he did when he showed up at the Masters twice. Both those times he was coming in lousy form, and nobody picked him. I'm hoping. Guy's been great at the U.S. Open. He's got great form in this tournament. I don't know if it's going to play like a traditional U.S. Open, but yeah, he's going to be in my lineups. We'll probably start a few lineups with him there, and I'm hoping people go somewhere else. They're sick of Xander. Capper, like, you're a good guy to ask. Like, are you done? Like, is he on the boat? You're done with him. He sucks. Get rid of him. Like, I want to know if that's what people are saying. And if that's what's happening right now, like, yeah, all right. We might have a shot here. Let's go.
So I like him as a placement bet. I'm sticking to my guns about not betting him or Cantlay. Like, they're just constantly just disappoint me. And it's like, whatever, another 20-1 loser, 22-1 loser. Like, forget it. Like, I'd rather just bet the top of the board and actually cash bets. And I like him to, I'll probably take a look at him top 10, maybe even top 5. Yeah, just because he's such a stud at U.S. Opens and he does everything well. He doesn't do anything poorly. You know what I mean? So when a course is going to test multiple facets of your game, like even if he's not the best at it, he doesn't have one path that's going to completely fucking sink you. So he's a great DFS play for that reason, right? His floor is so high. I'm not betting him outright. I have no problem using him in DFS, but I'm not betting him outright.
Okay. Yeah. So part of, I always link Cantlay and Xander as two guys who sometimes I show on Bermuda, but it seems like, at least looking around the green, he's been a little better around the green in Bermuda. So the Players Championship, they overseeded, but I remember this year, a lot of the Bermuda was popping up because it was really warm. Did really well around the green that week. He did well around the green at Austin Country Club with some of the dormant Bermuda. Same thing with Harbor Town. Again, that's overseeded, but the Bermuda was starting to come up there. He did well around the green there. So I'm been a little unfair to Xander as far as the around the green stuff. He fits a lot of golf courses I looked at this week. Obviously, I mentioned Shinnecock Hills and Erin Hills. Well, T5 at Erin Hills, T6 at Shinnecock. Obviously, really good at Augusta, great at Kapalua, so really good on uneven lies with a lot of uphill shots, downhill shots. Again, just it seems like with every single major, fits all the categories. As far as long iron play, there's some really crucial wedge shots you got to hit this week. He's really good with his wedges too. So, and he's just great at U.S. Opens in general, like my co-host said. So it just depends on if I want to, be weak again and throw money at Xander, and he just disappoints me.
He will.
I haven't yet.
He hasn't cracked Wednesday. He hasn't cracked the top 10 in like 2 events.
Yeah, ever since
he stinks. Well, he stinks.
Well, he hasn't had a top 10 since you went out there at Torrey Pines. Back in 2021 at a major.
Oh,
so
well,
that's another comment though. You're actually not going out now. So is that maybe going to sway the universe at this point?
It's funny. I thought about that. I'm trying to find a silver lining. I just when is enough enough? People have got to get sick of it at some point, right? I don't know who I was talking to, but I wanted him to like blow out at Memorial. And he went out first day. I think he shot like 75, 76 first day of Memorial, and then clawed his way back and ended up in the top 20 or whatever it was.
Yeah. It was top 20 because I was cussing him like no one's business.
Why can't he just miss a cut and just fade into the darkness? No, he's got to stick around. He's got to be relevant. And I don't know how people are going to react. I really believe that it hinges on that. I've been waiting for him to win a U.S. Open or win a Masters, but it's got to be the stars have to align. There's a lot of good players, but yeah, Steve, I think you should do it. I think you should do it.
All right, so I got my co-host saying don't do it. I got the Xander fanboy saying to do it.
You told me to electroshock.
That is true. You did tell me to electrocute me. I don't
know. He hasn't won in a while.
He hasn't won in about it. Actually, it will be a year next week since he last won. So yeah, I guess that is a while. I mean, it's a short time for Xander, but it's a while for other guys. So, hey, it's true though. All right, let's get to other guys in the range. We can't just talk about Xander. So I'm assuming that you bet either Spieth or Cam Smith this week. So why don't you talk about either one of those guys? Why do you like Spieth or Cam Smith this week?
I bet Cam Smith the other last night. He was at 30-1, and I thought that might drop, and it did. And then I saw a column, and now I'm upset. I was throwing up before because
he's actually been hot lately.
I don't care. It's the vibe, man. It's the vibe. Now, to be fair, like when he had Rahm at the Masters, and I was really scared of Rahm at the Masters this year, and that turned out to be correct. I'm glad he didn't have Xander, but based on everything, I thought this was going to be like a Cam Smith, Jordan Spieth, Patrick Reed type golf course. That's why I asked you at the top if you could spray it everywhere. We talk about Kapalua and Augusta, but Cam Smith's U.S. Open record isn't that great. I think his best performance was at his first one at Erin Hills.
Chambers Bay, actually.
That's what I meant. Yep, thank you. And I'm considering that money flushed down the toilet now. I don't know. He's been playing better. When you think of Cam Smith, do you think of him as a two-time major winner? That was a question I asked when I took Fitzpatrick at the PGA. That a two-time major winner, that requires a certain amount of pedigree. And is Cam Smith that type of player? Yes. And last year, I mean, he was top 5 player in the world. He looked like he was one of the best. Yep. So yeah, he could be, but again, I don't have a clear take on the golf course, and it's confusing me because I think if it's going to be firm and fast, and I think St. Andrews, these guys hitting dust balls, like Cam Smith, he won there last year. Why not? But then, I got sold. So we'll see. But I can just root for Xander. That's what happens.
So listen, Steve talked me off the ledge because I didn't know that until you texted the group chat, and I was fucking pissed.
I'm sorry.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing last night. I was like 30-1. I was like, let me go ahead and bet that after Steve talked to me about the core. And I was like, all right, let me just get Cam Smith. He's right. I'm going to bet him anyway. Might as well just bet him now. And so I won with Rahm at the Masters. He didn't sober me there.
Congratulations.
Who was the other one? Yeah,
I had Hovland 2 weeks ago, and that worked out okay.
I had Hovland.
I would have had Finau if you didn't talk me off him too, by the way. So yeah, you've been doing that a lot this year.
In Mexico?
Yeah, Mexico. Yeah, I was on vacation. I was on vacation. I didn't really care at that point.
Guy had a heart attack.
Well, I'm debating whether to say something that might give my co-host another heart attack. I'm just going to say it. Why not? So there's another guy that is a former top 5 player who has won the Players Championship and a one-time major winner, Webb Simpson. And maybe that's Cam Smith. In his career.
Fuck you!
That's old. That's old.
Yeah, I'm just reporting the facts, people.
It's not a fact. That's absolutely not a fact.
All right. I mean, listen. I like Spieth. I like Cam Smith for a lot of the reasons. The Kapalua, Augusta comps. Around the green play is going to be really important. If it plays really firm, I think that's going to be to their benefit. And even that U.S. Open you brought up, Jeff, that Chambers Bay, there is a little bit of that in this piece of property where, they're going to be kind of flexible with the tee boxes, throw guys a little bit of a curveball every single day. There's some elevation changes and some uneven lies at Chambers Bay as well. It's a funkier golf course. Guys aren't really used to it. Maybe the fact that Cam Smith hasn't really been good in traditional U.S. Opens like your Torrey Pines or your Wingfoots or your Brooklines or your narrow, deep fairway ones, maybe a little wider corridors, a little different style of golf might be a little better for him. So I like both this week. Listen, even if they don't win, they can definitely contend. So
what's the ownership looking like in that range?
So right now, Xander is actually the big popular guy.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Rory right above him? That doesn't make any sense.
Rory's sandwiched between Mega Chalk Hovland, Mega Chalk Xander. And then honestly, there's not really a whole lot of ownership below him. Spieth is about 15%. Cam Smith is sub 10% right now. Home is about 10%. Cal Morikawa is about 11%. It's all basically Xander and then kind of contrarians after that. So I guess why don't we talk about the other four guys in this range and capital?
Let's talk about Morikawa.
Okay, let's talk about Morikawa then. Go first.
He was three shots
get
off?
Closer to the mic, by the way.
Sorry. So he was 2 or 3 shots off, right? When he
shots
drew.
back. Yes.
Right. So he's playing well.
Better. Yeah.
Back spasms aren't like a thing you got to worry about. Like that shit happens to me. Like when I'm pick up the yad wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a recurring injury.
You just had a heart attack. We're gonna compare your physical condition to Colin Morikawa.
That's fair. Well, listen, but I'm saying like so back spasms aren't like a recurring thing. It's not like a pulled hammy. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's not lingering. Now it can come back at any point. But he was playing well. If it's gonna be playing, if they can run the ball on the ground like he did at the Open, like I don't hate it for a contrarian play. Maybe a better bet so he doesn't sink all of your shit, but I don't mind.
What is this argument right now?
It's just a contrarian play. Like if he's not going to get any ownership, like because they scared off his injury.
You said last night he sucks. You said for the last 3 months fake wins, and you brought up that Open championship that wasn't even a real Open according to you, running the ball on the ground. It was pillow soft that week.
I know there was no wind, and I had a Louis ticket that.
I think you did.
And Louis should have won that fucking thing. Nah, you're right. Like I think I'm just looking at it like, is anybody gonna play him though? You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
All right, you guys want to know why Morikawa is gonna win? Because this was my plan to bet Morikawa for 3 months, and then he got the back injury, and I'm like, you know what? I definitely can't. After getting punched in the face by Morikawa for the last 3 months, and I mean, I get it, the elite iron play, but there's a lot of holes in this game too. As far as I don't really, it doesn't seem like he trusts where the driver's going the last couple months. I've seen a lot of tee shots where he hits it and then the driver just kind of goes to the side and he just kind of watches it sails away. And between some of the struggles around the green, I don't know. I think I'm out of more. I think the back injury is just the cherry on top for me to kind of stay away.
Yeah, I mean, I like Colin more than anybody. I can't get there. I would more rather make a case for Homa popping than I would Morikawa if you're looking for a contrarian play.
Yeah. Do you think Homa's going to stay contrarian though? He's going to catch steam. California narrative, play him in California, holds the course record here. Like he's not going to stay long.
Morikawa doesn't have a California narrative?
No, he does, but which one's fresher in everybody's brain?
I think they're equally fresh.
I don't think so. Max Homa is think about he's been a darling over the past year. But
he's been shitty in majors, and I don't think he's going to be very popular. But if I'm just comparing those two players, maybe I'm just doing it out of spite, but I was on Max at the Masters, and he kind of got a bad draw. And then I was on him again at the PGA because I was like, you know what? He got a bad draw at the Masters. And then at the PGA, then he was sneezing and sniffing and had allergy attacks during his press conference. And he got beat by pollen at the PGA. And now he's back in California. So maybe it might be a little bit, and maybe he's a little more under the radar this time and he could pop. And he's been sick and tired of hearing about how he's been shitty in majors. And I think he's going to make a case to be a top player.
So if you want to go down narrative street with Homa, so he talked to Jeff Shackelford a couple weeks ago, and he specifically mentioned his major record. He felt like he was over preparing too much for everything. So he would basically do what I did, go to Google Earth, chart everything out, take little notes, and he just wasn't really playing golf. Mm-hmm. And he actually said that he wasn't going to try doing that this time around. He was just, because he knows the track, he's been there, and he's going to try not to over prepare. So we'll see if that actually makes a little bit of an adjustment for him. I think he's really popular in the outright market because a lot of people bet him back in January, probably expecting that maybe a good finish at the Masters or a good finish at the PGA. Then you kind of propel yourself to the win there. Hasn't really come yet. But for DFS, it seems like, he doesn't look great in any of the models. The approach play is just okay. Off the tee is okay, and around the green, he's just okay. So, I mean, if you want to buy into the narrative of, at least for low ownership for DFS, and maybe, this might be the one to kind of get him over the finish line, or at least, the first time actually being in contention or something. I mean, you can definitely make the case and go to him. So, I mean, the guy I kind of like Fitzpatrick in this range. I mean, if we're talking about guys who've got really good short games, wider fairways, he's developed a little bit more length too. I think he did well at Aaron Hills a couple of years ago, and he's really good on Bermuda, scrambling off of it. Great bentgrass putter, doesn't bogey a lot of holes either. So, and he's not drawing a whole lot of ownership either. He's sitting at about 10% right now. So I think you make a case for a lot of those guys other than Xander, going contrarian in the $9,000 range. Capper, you got any other comments, or you want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on. We're kind of running late. I'm fine with Homa, man. Like, I just don't think he's going to stay that low on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it. I just don't like Fitz. It makes sense that he should play well here because I hate him.
You do.
No.
You do. I have not found out if he's played the golf course with his dad.
Yeah, did he vacation here as a child? Is there some sort of childhood connection? It's probably too far, right, for the English. He stayed on the East Coast.
Yeah, probably. So maybe
Did you
he
see his new choppers? I saw pictures of his new choppers today.
I did not see that.
Yeah, he still looks like an asshole though. So doesn't help. Doesn't help. Still looks like a prick.
All right, $8,000 range. So it looks like a lot of the ownership is going towards Terrell Hatton for obvious reasons. He looks great in everybody's stat model. A lot of ownership is going to Hideki.
Yeah. And
that's really about it. So, Jeff, why don't you start with you? How about a couple guys you like down this range in here?
I don't really like this range a lot. I'm not going to lie. I figured that the chalk would be Hatton and Hideki. And you guys know me. I love Hideki. But I'm not going to mess around there. I kind of like Shane Lowry a little bit, sitting there at 8,500. And what about and also Tony Finau might be.
Lowry. It's so painful, man. He can't fucking putt. Like,
he's been good though in the last couple of majors. Let's see. I got some data here. You got
the PGA. He was 12th.
Last three majors: 21st, 16th, and 12th. Firm and fast. If it ends up that way, I just think, and he wasn't great at the Canadian Open. I didn't think he was going to be great at the Canadian Open, but I just if it plays the way I think it's going to play, and it's like an ownership pivot based on Hatton and Hideki, I think I take a shot with Shane Lowry. But again, I'm not in love with this range. But if I end up here, I think that's where I would go. And also, I'm looking at Finau because I think he's going a little ignored since he hasn't been great since he won. Yeah. And I think it's time. He had a stretch of majors a couple of years ago where he was top 10 almost every major, and he hasn't had a top 10 major in a while. And I think we're going, strokes gained, he's due. I think he's going to play well. So I'm going Finau if he's under the radar, and Lowry.
Okay. So with JT being 8,700, what price would he have to be for you to actually click and put him in your lineup?
I'm not going to play JT. I think.
So I'm saying, what price would you play? Like if he was 7,500, would you play him?
Well, do I want to win my contest that I'm entering? I think he's hurt. I think it's pretty obvious that there's something going on. He hasn't been playing well, and I'm not in a position where I want to take flyers. I think he's up to like 50-1 in the outright market, and people are starting to talk about it. And Southern Hills, you want to make that comp? Yeah, I get it. Okay, fine. Put a couple bucks on him. But no, I'm not there. I'm not. I don't like the $8,000 range. I don't like Sung Jae and Burn, like all these. I like guys at the top. I'm probably going to skip and end up in the sevens a little bit, and that's how I'm building.
Yep. Okay. I wanted to see what the temperature was on JT, because like even at 50-1, he didn't spark my interest to bet. I'm at 8,700. I'm still not putting him in my DFS. That's why I was just curious, like if there was a number. Like I think you're right though. Like I just don't think I'd fucking play him. Like it doesn't matter what his price is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more if he's like 4%, then I can probably spin the Southern Hills narrative, like you just said. I can spin. He shot 63 at Aaron Hills, and he's really good around the green. At least he's got some distance. That's always important at U.S. Open. But yeah, there was speculation around the Masters that he's dealing with a hip injury, and maybe that's still a thing for him. So I like that Finau call, though. I mean, really, the only thing that's been bothering him lately is the putter. Everything else around the green has been great. The iron numbers, they've tailed off a little bit, but still a really good long iron player. Really good off the tee as well. And good at Shinnecock Hills. He has that good major record, good at Augusta. So yeah, and even so, I looked a little bit at his win at Memorial Park last year. A lot of shade, Bermuda lies to some very undulated greens. So the fact he could do it there, he also has a couple good finishes in Albany. There's a lot of shade, Bermuda around those greens too. So the fact that nobody's really going to him for DFS. He's burned me a lot, but I can get to it. What about DJ? Any love for him? No.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I've been fading DJ since he left, and I just think he's like retired. People get mad. Paulina, they had that great comment on Netflix about he's going to show you who the fuck he is, and like, yeah, okay, Paulina. He's counting his money. Good on him. I'm like a little afraid. I'm a little afraid of Dustin Johnson. I'm not gonna lie, but maybe I'll sprinkle him in one or two lineups. I'm trying a multiple lineup thing this week.
Oh,
It's been a little while, so I might experiment. But I just don't know what you're gonna get from him. Then that's the problem. I question his motivation. I have, and at this point this year, it's kind of worked out. He hasn't really done anything. So I don't know. Do you like him, Steve?
I mean, not really. The live results have been kind of uninspiring. I also had some positionals on him at the Masters and the PGA, just thinking, okay, he's just going to turn it on. And he walked through the whole thing. You can make Shinnecock comparisons with him. You can make Augusta comparisons with him. You can make, Riviera is a very low-hanging fruit. I don't see a ton of Riviera in this place other than George Thomas designed it. But you can make that case too. I'm not in. I think I've taken the cheese too many times with DJ. I agree with you. I don't really love this range either. I do really like Hideki a lot this week. I know he's popular, but it just seems like anytime we go to a golf course with uneven lies, I know you made that grace case for him in 2021 when he won the Masters, and you referenced Kapalua. Kapalua is definitely a golf course I'm looking at a lot this week. He was really good at Erin Hills too. So I definitely really like Hideki this week. Just great iron numbers, great around the green play, really good scrambler on Bermuda as well. So that was a big plus for me. But yeah, otherwise though, it's a lot of guys who I just kind of feel like are kind of dead. Sungjae, Burns, Jason Day got his win. He might be dead. Cam Young might be dead. JT might be dead. DJ might be dead. So one of those guys are going to pop though.
Oh yeah.
I guess of Sungjae, Burns, Jason Day, Cam Young, who's going to pop this week?
Give me Burns.
You want Burns? Okay.
I'm with you, Capper. That's what I would have said.
I think I want Sungjae. I think
he's too much of a knucklehead. If this is like a thinking man's golf course, he's just gonna fire at the pin. He's gonna have a 3-wood out of the fucking bunker.
You're so right.
I mean, he's good on uneven lies, though. He's pretty good on Bermuda.
He makes so many dumb decisions, bro.
I know he makes a lot of dumb decisions, but I think he hit it. I know he sucked at Memorial, I think, a couple weeks ago, but he finally hit his irons a little better. So maybe things are kind of starting to figure out with him.
He didn't play in Korea last week or anything?
No, he did not play in Korea to wreck his schedule there. I don't know what the hell that was about.
You gotta win.
I had no idea. Like, I was looking at his page on like Tuesday. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in Korea last week? Exactly. So, all right. $7,000 raise. Capper, why don't we start with you actually? So
okay.
Talk about a couple guys above $7,500 you like a lot.
So Keegan, obviously, off the tee, long and straight. Good long iron player, good around the green. The aim point putting has really improved. Yeah, I mean,
I should just record that and then just play that as a sound drop for every time we mention Keegan, because you say the exact same thing. No matter if it's like if it's Harbortown or if it's Winged Foot, you're gonna say the exact same thing about Keegan every single time. So
I mean, that's fair. I mean, listen, you tell no lies. But no, I do like him here. I mean, obviously last year was like a home game for him, in Boston, but he played really well there. Thought he actually had a chance. I mean, his approach numbers have been kind of falling off a little bit, but I don't know. Like, I'm fine with him at 7,600. He can score, and he's not as bad as part as he used to be. And he's gonna be just like really low owned, which is fine because Ricky's gonna take all that ownership. Bryson's taking a ton of ownership. So is Justin Rose. So I like Justin Rose. Like he always seems like he can compete in this. Did good in Canada. Did good up in Rochester. Definitely a first round leader bet for me. But yeah, Rosie has been playing really well. He's uber chalk too, though, so it just depends on how you're going to do your lineup build. But those are the two guys I like above 75.
Okay. All right. Let me tee something up for Jeff here.
Patrick Reed. He's at 7,500.
Yeah. Well, I was going to tee up Patrick Reed because I know I like him too. But so Bryson has a lot of ownership. Tell me exactly why that is bad chalk. And I know the answer, but I want you to say it.
Elevation changes, man.
Yes.
He's got all his irons are all his wedges, everything's the same length, and he struggles. He struggles with these elevation changes. The proof is in the pudding. It's been proven over time. It is not a cockamamie take. Now, I can't claim complete ownership of that. I heard Andy Johnson talk about this a long time ago, and that's why I wouldn't never like him at Augusta. That's why even at a track like Kapalua, where you could bomb it everywhere, it's not a good scene for him. And uphill, downhill, side hill, he seems to struggle with that. And until proven otherwise, and Steve, I'm so glad that you remember that you brought it up, because I knew he was going to be popular this week, and I knew I had this take in my back pocket. It's like, God, that's a mistake. Don't play Bryson this week. Just like Jason Day at the PGA. I said, no, it's going to be cold. It's going to be rain. You don't play Jason Day or at Augusta. Maybe it was Augusta, but the weather was going to be a problem. Don't play Day. Don't play Cantlay. It's going to be cold. Sometimes just wait until they prove you're wrong. And then just die on that hill until otherwise.
Yeah.
So
love it.
I'm not playing Bryson. I like Justin Rose. I do like Patrick Reed. Mm-hmm. You said Ricky's very popular. He's a big chalky guy in that. Yeah. He's the most popular guy in that range.
He is. We'll see there's a lot of public money doing this stuff, so he'll probably be high owned. But he does have a lot of stuff you're looking for this week too. But yeah, he definitely is drawn. Unfortunately, all the guys I really like in this range are highly owned. Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose. Even Reed's drawing double-digit ownership right now too, and I really like. Those are
the four guys I have written down.
Yeah. Wyndham Clark is also drawing a lot of ownership just because his ball striking numbers are really good, and his around the green numbers are decent. He's a good bentgrass putter. He's Andercurse though, so that's not great.
Which was weird.
That's not great. All right, why don't we transition?
Steve told me that shit before the show. I was like, what?
All right. Why don't we go under $7,500? Jeff, is there anybody you like down in this range?
All right. I looked at I got three guys here that I'm looking at. I like Minwoo Lee a little bit. I think that he's been playing okay. He was good in his last major. I like Ryan Fox. Me and my brother, we both like to play Ryan Fox lately, and he's been good in the majors. And Steve, we have to talk about Phil Mickelson or Capra. We need to talk about Phil Mickelson.
Why?
Do you think? Okay, just think about it. All right, just think about it. Is there a world where Phil, with his short game, if you hit it anywhere, it's not a traditional U.S. Open, like Phil against the world, career Grand Slam, merger with PGA, like, is there a world where Phil kind of sticks it to the golf world?
All of our pets' heads will fall off.
Maybe. So yeah, I understand. But that's why I asked you at the top of the show, like, can you hit it anywhere? Like, it's not going to play like a traditional U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Can you magically, if it's like a Jordan Spieth, Cam Smith, Patrick Reed, I mean, does he still have the hands? Tiger won his major with his hands around the green game and saving par. I don't know what the winning score is going to be, but
I don't know either. So
what's that in Vegas? What are they saying?
I don't think they come out with it. I think 10 under is my guess.
Okay.
I saw a line on FanDuel that they're setting it tentatively. Like they did some will history repeat itself props, and they did -6 or better at like -110. I actually took a little bit of that because I think that is a little low. But I think -10. I think unless this course really bakes out in 3 or 4 days, I see this being kind of receptive with some of the greens, and unless they just make impossible pin positions, which they've changed, management of the USGA. It doesn't seem like they want to do that as much. I mean, they could have made Pebble Beach impossible a couple of years ago, but they chose not to. They kind of said, okay, well, this is just what we have here. I think 10 under is probably the winning score. But back to Phil, though. So I think this is the key difference. He did great at the Masters, but anytime you talk about the Masters, he comes back, he's like, oh, why just, if I miss it over there, I know where to miss it, basically. Mm-hmm. And while it is wide fairways, there are places where you don't want to miss. It takes birdie basically out of the question. It makes par kind of difficult. And there are places around the green where you can't miss either. So I think that's the key difference when talking about Phil at Augusta, using his magic and the magic beans and everything. And this one, I mean, can he play well? Theoretically, yes. He has pop off the tee, still has the short game.
California
guy. But if you guys want to play him, then
I'm not playing him. I'm not playing him.
You don't see it.
I can see it. I don't know. Like, whatever. Like, I mean, it depends on how many lineups you're making. Sprinkle it in and have some fun with it. But like, I don't know. I think I like some other guys. Like I like Eric Cole a lot better. Like, that's my guy. Like, I love Eric Cole. I'm gonna fucking play him. He's a little chalky for Eric Cole, but he's 7K flat. He's been playing really well. I think of him as a Florida guy. Loves because that's what he does. Like, he plays well on Bermuda. I'm a little worried that he does everything with his putter, and these greens are going to be extra slick. And I don't know how well he's going to do with that. But at 7K, I'd rather play Cole than Phil.
Okay. Doesn't seem like anybody's really going back to Denny McCarthy. Actually, no, I take that back. His ownership is spiked. Earlier it was low, but now it's up. How about Harris English? He's done a couple of U.S. Opens. He's pretty good around the green. Everyone was on him at Oak Hill, and that failed. So maybe this is the time to go back to him. He's not totally dead either. A third at Quail Hollow. Those are tough conditions. T12 at Colonial, that was really firm. T2 at Bay Hill. So in some tougher conditions, he's done pretty well this year. So, and he's drawn, I think, 5% ownership right now. That's not a bad play. Russell Henley does pretty well in U.S. Opens. I mean, he was, 54-hole leader at Torrey Pines. He did well at Shinnecock a couple years ago, too. He had a 16th Memorial, 16th Charles Schwab. I mean, he's playing good lately, and no one's really on him. It's about, I think, 7% ownership right now.
No.
I think that's a good name.
Do you think, here's another question. You brought up Russell Henley. Do you think that it's short hitters would be okay?
I do think you need pop here just because there are a lot of really long approach shots. And if the fairways aren't rolling out quite as fast, that's going to put them a little bit of disadvantage. I also know this too. So I watched a lot of the Walker Cup, and I was able to track where those guys are hitting their approach shots from versus where the U.S. guys are hitting their approach shots from. And yeah, hindsight's 2020. The U.S. was stacked, and the British guys had a bunch of bums. But at that point, they were all amateurs at that point. And all the U.S. guys were always hitting second because they were always a little farther out. And the GBI team they had like 200, 215, 220 to a lot of these greens, and we're always just leaving it short or leaving it in a bad place. So I worry about with a little bit of a shorter hitter, how big of a ceiling he might have. But Russell Henley has proved in U.S. Open conditions at longer golf courses and is really excellent around the green and doesn't make a lot of bogeys. So, that's where I'll make an exception. But overall, though, I do think the guy who's going to win this is going to be a guy, an elite driver, just like with every other basically U.S. Open we've had.
All right. Fair.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right. Anybody else, or can we move down to the $7,000 or $6,000 range?
Real quick, what do you think about what about Straka, man? He's been playing pretty well.
I have a checkered history with him.
I love Straka.
I mean, he stole the Honda Classic from me when I was on Lowry. I had him at Sanderson. That's I think 70-1, and I mean, really, TIO rules stole that away from my win away from me for Straka.
You were the only person in the community who wasn't happy about the Will Z win.
No, I had Will Zalatoris.
Oh, yeah. So
no, I'm talking about the Sanderson.
Oh, okay.
Where I might have been the only person in the community who actually bet that tournament.
That's
So, no, I he's fine. Actually, I forgot about one guy. Mito Pereira, $7,200. Although I think is he drawing some ownership? Yeah, he's drawing a lot of ownership. I think he's just a good player. I think he's underpriced at that point. So I mean, like, look at the other guys who are like around him. Like Justin Suds, $100 less than Mito Pereira. Taylor Montgomery is $200 more expensive than Mito Pereira. You got like the broken Aaron Wise. You got Danny McCarthy. You got Seamus Power more expensive than Mito. Like Mito's better than all those guys.
Yeah.
So
Minwoo Lee, baby.
Yeah, I like Minwoo. I like Minwoo.
Okay. All right. Let's go dumpster diving. Jeff, who are some of your favorite guys down in this range?
It's not pretty. I'm happy to see our boy Sebastian Munoz back in the fold.
Yeah,
I like him. 6,700. Little baby swag, I believe.
Yeah.
Just had a kid.
All right.
Saw it on Twitter.
I have a list of 5 guys. They're all above like 6,500. So just want me to just read them off here?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So California guy Patrick Rogers, 6,900. Not playing as terrible as you might assume. Andrew Putnam might have had like a WD and a little injury problem, but seemed to be coming back from that and playing a little bit better.
He's a Ponzi scheme.
It's possible. It's possible. Your boy Lucas Herbert.
Yep.
I like him, 67. And then the big pole, Adrian Marunk. He might be a player, 6,700.
Yeah,
now I don't know how popular any of these guys are in terms of ownership and everything else. They'll probably be sprinkled.
Morocco. Yeah, Morocco will be popular.
But there's
he boned a lot of people, including me, last week.
That's fair.
So maybe I'm looking where is he on the list here?
Yeah, he's low. Yeah, he's not catching any yet.
Yeah, I think people are just like, maybe 3%. So
sign me up.
I'm fine with that. Let's see.
I mean, underneath 6,500, you got all these open qualifiers. Some of these guys haven't even played anything ever. You want to go
Dylan Wu?
Capper, you want to say Nick Hardy? You want to
Nick Hardy? No, but I like Dylan Wu, man. Fucking, he's playing really well. He's 6,400.
I'm out on the Wu-Tang Clan.
Anybody want to do Old Man Kuchar?
No.
Well, we just talked about these bunters. I don't know if he's going to have the teeth.
What's his ownership? He's at 2% ownership. And T20 last week.
He's washed. I can't.
T23 at Quail. 8th at Genesis.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Do I Kuchar, huh?
I don't know if I like him, but I think I'm pointing it out.
What about my boy Peter?
You can go Patrick Rogers. He's got some pop and he's good around the green, good bentgrass putter.
That's the first name I mentioned, Steve. Come on. No credit.
All right. My apologies. There we go. That's really about it. I like your Putnam pick though. Capper, what about you? Anybody
I like Kitayama.
Of course you do.
Yeah, because we'll do whatever. He's 6,800. He won fucking like 2 months ago. Like he's better than Adam Svensson and Joel Dahman. Like
I can't believe you had a heart attack. I really can't. You're so calm. Capper, just relax, man. You're talking about Kurt Kitayama. Just relax. It's okay.
Not that easy, man. I try to explain that. Like, I don't want to be built this way. I just am. Like, it is what it is. Peters, 68. Any thoughts on him?
Well, I looked at him. That's a good call. He just WD. He just withdrew from the DC Live event after 2 rounds, and I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
And he's been pretty bad over on Live.
Yeah, but it might. Who cares? It might not matter.
I think it matters a little more than what people think. I mean, they're still playing golf at the end of the day. They still get mad if they hit bad shots.
Especially
Peters gets really mad.
Yeah, so like I don't think you just completely ignore what's going on over there.
No. Yeah, but if he feels disrespected and now he's got something to prove.
Does he still feel disrespected?
I don't know.
He got paid.
What if he does? That's my point.
All right.
What's his price?
68.
He's made the cut in his last 5 majors, 27, 28, 48, 40th. I don't know. I looked at him. The WD is what put me off of him.
2 top 25s in his last 2 U.S. Opens. Right, so at one at Brookline and then not 21, but 20.
He's a really good player.
He is a good player. He is.
And I do like Dylon Wu at 6,400. Like I think that's a misprice. Like, so yeah, I mean, dude, 25th at the RBC, 21st at Wells. I know Mexico sucked, but still 15th. Like, yeah, man, like 35th at the Players, 10th at Honda. Like, yeah, I will take these results from a $6,400 play.
Yeah, see, he's a really short hitter who's bad around the green. I don't want that this week.
So he hasn't been terrible around the green. Man, like I mean, it's basically net negative.
Net negative is not good.
Yeah, 0. It's fine.
All right, so he lost to Canadian. He lost a lot at Charles Schwab. Gained a little bit at Byron Nelson. Lost at Quail. Lost in Mexico. Lost at Zurich.
Gained in Valero.
Okay, sure. And then he lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row.
He drives at 300. It's not that fucking short.
No, he doesn't. He drives at like 296.
I'm telling you right now, what I'm looking at shows me driving distance 300.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to audit that data.
Who are we talking about?
Dylon Wu.
Yeah, we're arguing about
come on, man. That guy missed a 4-foot putt to make the cut. Yeah. He's done.
I don't know.
I'm out on the
400. He makes some stuff fit.
Okay. All right. I got nothing else. Jeff, why don't you give a couple plugs? Tell us where you're at, and
okay. All right. A couple plugs. I'm not big on self-promotion. On occasion, I will do a show on Wednesday nights. I might have lined up a guest or two at my at the sectional qualifying, so I might do some interview type stuff. I really enjoyed the one you did with what was it, Carson Young?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Hats it to our producer on that, by the way. He definitely lined up all of that.
Well, that whole thing with the Mario Kart, Nick Taylor is like the world's he's like a top 10 Mario Kart player.
Yeah, I did know.
You guys got to you got to use that. Anyway, okay. So yeah, Wednesday nights on YouTube, Nagel's Bagels. You can check me out or on the Twitter or whatever. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest with you, with the show and with content. So just follow and stick around. You never know what's going to happen. You can play in the DraftKings contest, which is pretty good, that I put out every week. So that's pretty much all I got right now.
Okay. All right, Capper, got anything else?
Nope, that's it. You can follow me on Twitter at Boston_Capper. Everybody knows where to find Steve in our Discord channel.
It's only been like 2 years.
That's fine. Whatever. I had a heart attack. Give me a break. Listen, if you haven't checked out Steve's his video preview, it's like 2 hours long. Throw it at 1.5 times speed. Plus, it makes them sound funny. And so, yeah, it's great, man. It really breaks down the course. Shows you all the different types of angles. Really good job on that. And then tomorrow night we got Pamela Maldonado, and then we're doing Mothership tomorrow night too.
Yep, at I think 10 o'clock.
Mothership tomorrow night, and then we are interviewing I think
Jeff Benson of
Jeff Benson.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff Benson on Wednesday night. We're doing Jeff Benson of Circa. He runs their operations side. So we can talk about conspiracies, and I'm going to ask him why they constantly put 20 guys underneath 30-1 and how that's fair to us, and see what he likes. So other than that, you can look forward to that type of shit. And once again, thank you to our very, very special guest, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Other than that, let's go, baby. It's fucking Major Week.